Hi YouTube, and welcome back to our channel. Today I'm going to be talking about the experience that I had with purchasing a home, well, building a home I should say. So if you have been watching our videos, you will know that I shared back in the summer that we were going to be building a home, and I started off vlogging the process early on. It was really exciting and everything, and then as things started to move faster through the house construction process, I didn't share as much as I initially thought that I would, and there was a reason for that. It became very, very stressful. So I just thought I would come on and kind of put together some of the things that I experienced, just to share in case anyone else is planning to build a home, so that you kind of know some of the things that I went through, because apparently these are things that are fairly common, but I didn't know. I mean, I had never gone through the process before. So I am going to share some of those things, and I just want to say, disclaimer, I am not complaining. I am just explaining the process, just you know, just to kind of vent and get it out there. So thanks for joining the channel here, or the video here, I should say, and I'll continue to tell you all of the things that I've learned. So one of the first things that I want to say is that as the construction was going on, you know, I could see things were progressing, and we were getting very, very, very close to closing, but there were just, in my mind, major things that still looked just rough. And so I was starting to panic, like, you know, what's going on here? Because I would say the last week or two prior to closing, when I would come down here, I would never see anybody working. So it was like they had gone on to the next phase of the development and had kind of left these here. And they called me and they were like, okay, it's time for the walkthrough. And I'm like, whoa, walkthrough? It doesn't seem like it's anywhere near ready for a walkthrough. So I told the sales agent when she called and told me that, and she was like, oh, well, you know, when you go down and you point those things out, they're able to do all those things in like a matter of a day. She was like, they really could build a house in a day. So she was like, don't worry. What they're going to do is walk you through the house with blue tape, and you'll just, you know, mark off where, you know, there's like imperfections in the wall or just things that you want to have done over or repaired or whatever. And so that was my first, like, just kind of deflated moment, because I really thought when you built a house, I mean, when you go in there, when they tell you to come in, it's ready, you shouldn't have to point out these things to them. This was my thinking. I've talked to several people since then, and they're like, yeah, that's pretty much the process. You go in with your blue tape and you tape everything up. One of the things that I'm really happy that I did was went to the house, or I should say came to the house 2 days before the walkthrough, because had I come during the time where, you know, the builder was here and they're talking and, you know, so many things are going on, it's harder to focus on the things that you want to point out. So I actually had my mom and my sister come with me, just to have a fresh set of eyes on it. You know, to look at what you see that needs to be done or whatever. And we just kind of walked the house and went through everything, opening and closing every window and just the blinds and all those things, just so that we could point everything out. And we were here for, you know, a long time. So I was really thankful that we did that, because that, when the walkthrough officially happened, it was exactly what I had envisioned, that they're like rushing us through the house, and you know, you can miss a lot like that. So I was thankful that we had come down here in advance and kind of did the blue tape in advance, so we could take our time and not worry about, you know, being rushed from room to room. So that was the first thing that I would say. Another thing that I should mention on that same note is that not only were there places in the walls and things, but there was just a tremendous amount of dust in the house. I mean, a tremendous amount of dust. So when they built the house, they would, like say if they put the hardwoods in, they put the floors in and then they would cover it with some plastic or whatever, but you know, just from the construction workers walking in and out and everything, doing other things in the house, the floors were a mess. I mean, I'm like, why put the floors in when you know you have to keep coming in and apply, you know, put in the appliances, or, you know, you still have to paint or whatever those types of things are. But, you know, the builder was explaining that when they order the products, when they come in, sometimes they come in different order in which they would have preferred, you know, to have it put in, and they deliver it like right to the site. So rather than having it sit outside in the, you know, elements, rain or whatever, so they just go ahead and they put it in. Now they do come and they send a cleaning crew and they clean everything, you know, from the top to the bottom, so all the dust and everything is gone by the time you get in here. But that was just appalling to me that they had me come over even during the walkthrough, even though they had come over and they had cleaned and everything. It was still, you know, a lot of dust and everything. But for closing, they did have someone here. Actually, the day of the final walkthrough before closing, when we got here, the cleaning crew was still here. So they actually walked out with us. They were putting the final, you know, touches on the floors and things like that. So that was kind of surprising, the amount of dust and the condition of the home when they're building it. Also, they would leave doors open in your home. So like even once they put the hardwoods in, and even after the appliances, the construction workers, they are so careless. They leave for the night or whatever, and they'll leave the front door just wide open. And I see it all the time now that we're in here, and there's construction going on around. You know, I'll go out like in the evenings or whatever, and the construction crews may be gone or whatever, and they've left doors open, they've left the garage door open and things like that. So that's just, you know, that's just what they do. And I guess there's no problems with it, because if it rains and water gets in there, whatever, they repair or clean up everything that needs to happen as a result. But it's pretty interesting to see, you know, just how they kind of do that kind of thing. You wouldn't think that that type of thing would be going on, but it is what it is. One thing that I wish that I had known, you know, early on is the different phases of the construction, that, you know, so as an example, like, we came in, we were probably the second grouping of closing on in the, I don't know what you call it, it's not really a cul-de-sac, but just on the block. We were the second group of closing, so there were other houses, or are other houses that are under construction. And so coming into a development when a lot of construction is still going on, I was faced with, well, first of all, the noise. I'm going to insert a clip here too to show like what's going on like at night, because some nights the construction workers work till like midnight, so you can hear them, and they're very, very respectful. They'll come over if they know that they're working on something that's going to be louder than the norm, and they'll say, hey, we're going to be working next door, doing whatever, we'll be here pretty late, but if it gets unbearable, let us know. Of course, you have to get up out your bed and go over there and say, hey, it's too loud, which we haven't done, but they at least give you that kind of courtesy. But they work till sometimes midnight, and it's pitch black outside. So I'm gonna see if I have some photo clips, because sometimes I'll just go out and just shake my head and just videotape some things that I see, because it's pretty crazy. So the noise, so if you're going into a development and there's construction still going on, you really kind of have to be prepared for that level of noise. And also the dust in your home. So the dust kind of continues, especially if you're new construction in the South. We're in the South, so you know, we have the red clay and everything anyway. So when you have that kind of situation, you get a lot of dust in the house. So I mop every day. I have to vacuum and mop every day and dust, because just opening the door, just, you know, coming and going, just dust comes in, it's all on your feet, whatever. So that's just something you have to deal with until the construction is over and they get all the grass in and kind of wash everything down. So that was something I wish I had known. Timing wise, I probably would have liked to have come in on the last phase, because it's kind of hard when you're dealing with the noise. I had a porta potty in front of my house until about 3 days ago, and we've been in here for a month. Right in front of the house, there was a porta potty. So, I mean, those are just some of the things that happen. Also, there's nails in the streets, because all up and down the street, you know, some days it's trucks, so many trucks there that you can't get down the street. So they're actively working and you know, to get everything in, but there's nails in the street and things like that. So you have to be really, really, really careful with your tires. So in hindsight, I think I would have been better coming into a later phase where kind of some of all of these things are kind of over. But I think we're coming to the end of it now, so it's okay, you know, deal with it probably for like 2 months. But that was kind of like something that I hadn't thought through, and was kind of, you know, shocked at the way that some of that works. Can you see that little flashlight in there? That's the people up in the house working. It's clearly after dark, and they are in the house using flashlights to continue to work. That's crazy. So now we've been in here for 30 days, and it was time for the 30-day inspection. So when you move into the house, they pretty much tell you you're gonna have nail pops, you're gonna have, you know, see other areas that you didn't see during your walkthrough that needs, you know, so you're gonna get nail pops, you're gonna have seams that's began to show in the wall, just imperfections that happen as the house begins to settle. So they come back out in 30 days and kind of look at what those things are. So once again, you go through the exercise with the blue tape and showing them what needs to be repaired as a result of that. So, you know, we just went through that process, and that was, you know, pretty interesting to kind of watch your walls kind of and see. And all in all, I have to say it really hasn't been horrible, the things that have happened with the 30 days as it relates to paint and things like that. Now, some of the things that have happened that was pretty crazy was the first night we were here, noticed that there was like no hot water. So that was an emergency call. You don't have to wait for the 30 days. So we did have to make an emergency call on night 1 because there was an issue with the hot water tank. So that got resolved. And then on, there was a couple weeks after that, we had our first really hot day here in North Carolina where I am, and we ended up having to turn the air on. And we turned the air on, and it was still hot in the house. And so, you know, we waited a while, like, okay, let's look out here. The air conditioning unit was not on. So that was another emergency call. So when we called the guy, he came to the house, and he immediately apologized before he even came in the house. He said, "I am so sorry. I know exactly what happened." He never hooked up the air. He said when he was supposed to hook up the air conditioning unit, he realized he needed a part. He went to get that part. When he came back, it was raining. So long story short, he had forgotten to do it. So as soon as he got the call and came to the house, he remembered what he had not done. And so I was like, well, you know, why did this pass inspection? Because that was the first thing that came to my mind. How was the inspection done and everything checked out and this was not done? Come to find out, they don't turn the air conditioning on if it's under 50 degrees on the day that the inspection is done. So didn't know that. So that was something that I learned. Right now it's been repaired, and it's, you know, it's pretty hassle-free. When you do have an emergency, they have the emergency numbers and they come right out and they take care of it. But I'm just learning, you know, as I go along. Another thing that I learned from the 30-day visit is that well, when you move into a house, you have to register all of your appliances. And that was like a duh moment for me, because when you buy new appliances, you have to register them. Never crossed my mind that you had to register each appliance with the company. So, you know, if you have Electrolux or whatever, you have to contact them and register each item. Didn't know that. Also had to register the air conditioning unit. Didn't know that either. So you have to go out there, and then you have to, you know, get the serial numbers and everything, and you know, get them registered. So that was a big like, oh yeah, that makes sense. They're new appliances and everything, and they're yours. So that is not anything that at least my builder did. I had to register each of the appliances. So that was a lesson learned. What funny story. So we were told that with and moving into your home, that after a month you need to change your air filters, your furnace filters, because of the dust on the construction site. They're going to get, you know, dirtier faster than normal. So that I knew. Open the door, whatever, to take the furnace filter out, and we saw the craziest thing. I'm gonna insert a clip to show you what was there. Open this up to change the filter, and there is an object here that should not be. Don't know if you can see that, but it's a Corona bottle. Why? Why would that be there? One other thing that I wanted to share is that, so at the time that I bought this house, the builder was offering an incentive, and I think that's pretty common in new developments, that they'll offer a incentive, and it's like a cash incentive to say, like, I think it was $5,000. You get $5,000 in incentives for upgrades in your home, and they'll have a specific list of items that you can choose from, which are grossly overpriced. So as an example, like a ceiling fan, it might be $500 for a ceiling fan. Or, you know, blinds is another option. In my state, you get your main appliances except for refrigerator, washer, dryer. And so refrigerator was one of those items that you could get as the incentive. And it was a very expensive refrigerator that you get, not worth the money. So that was something else that I wish that I had not taken as a part of the incentive, because the quality of the refrigerator, it's not that great. I mean, it's an okay refrigerator, but it's not what I would have picked if I had taken that same amount of money and gone to the store to buy a refrigerator. I feel like I would have gotten a much better quality refrigerator, but it's okay, and it's under warranty, so it'll work. It is a side-by-side refrigerator. It was a 3-door refrigerator, which, you know, is nice. So that's one thing. The other thing, and this was a mistake that I had made, and so I want to share this too. So when you sign your papers, or you go through the options or whatever is in your house or whatever, of course you look over it very, very carefully. But I had made an assumption that I shouldn't have made. And I'm like, at first I was like really upset about it, but now it really had a better outcome. And that was that the model that I looked at, they told me that everything that was in the model pretty much would be a part of the house. And so there was one exception, and it was in the paperwork, but it wasn't ever just kind of called out, and I totally missed it when I looked through it. And that was that the master bedroom did not have carpet. I mean hardwood, and the whole first level has hardwoods, but in the master, in the model had hardwoods, but in the paperwork the master was written up with carpet. So in order to get the hardwood extended throughout the master, that would have been an upgraded cost. And had I seen that at the time, or noticed that, I probably would have gone for it and gotten it, because I don't like carpet. I really prefer the hardwood. But at the point that I realized, it was one of the days that I came down here to look at the house, and they had put carpet in the master, and I'm like, no, no, this is all wrong. And I went over there to the office, and I'm like, they've made a mistake. It's supposed to be hardwood. And she was like, okay, we'll fix it if we made a mistake. And then she pulled it up, and she's like, no, there was no mistake. That's what was written up. So I'm like, okay, fine. Well, I was really something that I really wanted was hardwoods in my master. So I contacted a company because there was nothing that they could do at that point. Once they get to a certain point in construction, they don't stop and do rework unless they've made a mistake. If there's no mistake, they keep it moving. So I was stuck with the carpet from their perspective. So I was free to change it obviously after closing, and that is exactly what I did. So I contacted a company, had them come out actually while the house was still under construction to do the measurements and everything. And when the guy came out and he, you know, did the measurements and gave a quote and everything, matched the color to the color that was, you know, in the rest of the main level. And so that was fine. And so I just arranged for him to do it on the day after closing before everything got moved in, and it worked out perfectly. But what I will say about that is that was the best thing that could have happened, because the quality of the floors, in my opinion, are different. So it, you know, both are hardwood floors what the builder put in, but the quality of the wood that was paid for separately, it's different. It's just a different quality wood. It just looks a lot better. So I was kind of glad that it worked out that way, because I'm very pleased with the floors in the master. So that is one thing that I would say that I was kind of glad that it worked out that way. You know, obviously if the builder is giving incentives, you want to take the incentives, whatever they may be, but just know that the quality of it is probably not going to be all that great. So pick things that don't matter as much, you know. So I got a garage door opener as part of the incentive. I got the refrigerator, which I had not gotten. I got the ceiling fans. They were expensive as all get out, but it was something that I would have wanted anyway. So got that, and I think that was the $5,000, because everything was like marked up so much. So you're really not getting $5,000 to happen, but yeah. So that was a funny thing that happened. So that's really everything, and I know it sounded like a lot of complaints, and it's not. I mean, everything was quickly resolved. Our builder was D.R. Horton, and you know, when you do like research on builders, you see kind of good and bad on all of them. There's like no builder that I found that, you know, just had a perfect rating across the board. They all kind of have problems, and they're all kind of like the same kinds of problems. And so what I'm seeing and what I'm told is that, you know, the types of things that I've identified since being in the house that, you know, is like, wow, how could they do this? It's like these houses are going up so very fast. And I guess if you custom build a home, you know, from the ground up, design it and everything, then you can kind of dictate the types of materials, you know, but basically they're using builder quality equipment and everything, and it's just not the best. So I think all in all, it was a good experience. I would recommend D.R. Horton for anyone that was building. I probably would, you know, unless there was a builder out there that just has horrible ratings, which in my research, I didn't see anybody that did. They all had the good and the bad out there. But all in all, the experience with getting things resolved has been, you know, acceptable, and it's not, you know, bad. And I love my home. I'm happy to be in here now. Still, you know, doing a lot of organizing and all of those things, but each time I can check one of the rooms off the list that, okay, this is done and this is, you know, the way that I want it to be, then I'm happy with it, and, you know, glad to be in it and glad to be through the process, because it did get very stressful at times, but it was well worth it. So just wanted to come on and share these items with you to give my perspective of how it goes when you're building a home. And if you're building a home or have built a home and have gone through some of these things, drop some comments down below to let me know what your experience was like. And if you are going through the process of building a home now, the only thing that I would say is go often and make sure that, you know, things are going as expected. But don't be surprised if you're getting very close to closing and, you know, things don't seem to be done. They pull them together, and at the end, I think, you know, you should be happy with it just as I am. So thanks so much for watching, and please comment, rate, subscribe, and we'll see you back in our next video. Thank you. Bye.